The good news is that if MTG, Warhammer, Kingdom Death Monster, if they've taught us anything, it's that you can never have too much of a single game. Hey, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co, and this is an unboxing and rambling of Marvel United. And there is a whole lot... Where's the core box? This is the core box over here. Let's start with this. We have a whole lot of Marvel United, and that's including the fact there's a drop-off camera as well. I don't know the best way to organize this. We'll figure it out. All the individual boxes will be timestamped down below. And in case you're new here, this is a rambling, an unboxing and rambling, not just an unboxing, which means I'll be talking about anything, including the fact that I've had way too much coffee today. Hopefully that comes through in the video. Either way, let's go ahead and dive into this. By the way, these boxes have fallen over like 2 or 3 times in my effort of stacking them all up while I go through things before giving up and kind of doing what I could over there. Top Shot, coffee, and all that stuff. This is my 4th cup of coffee today. 4th? 5th? 4th? 5th? I don't know. One of those two. 1 second. Let's go through it. We started... Let me move these boxes over here. We started with... I have no good place to put these. We started with my traditional morning coffee, which I have every single day. I also have an afternoon coffee every single day. That's 2 coffees a day, roughly, you know, this size every day. So around 24 ounces of coffee, not an unreasonable amount. Strictly speaking, that's 3 cups by the standard 8-ounce definition. But by the rest of us, 2 cups of coffee a day. Then from there, I had a friend come over to have an ex-coworker, actually. But although a little more complicated than that, if you know I left my job recently. But it's not like I left my job and he was coming to see me. It was... someone who actually left before I did, and we've been friends, and we've been meaning to meet up and all that stuff, and we finally did meet up, and so had coffee, because how could you not have a friend over and have coffee? Then, why did I have, this is my 5th cup of coffee, 5th coffee. Did I say 6th or 5th or 4th or 5th? 5th cup of coffee. Then, I've been running on very little sleep this past week, because of the fact that I have, well, to go into it, we have some people over. Ooh, we have Devin Norris from the Crackle team. We had Austin Harris from IV Games. Max from... Oh my gosh, what's Max's channel? What in the world is Max's? Table Knots. Max from Table Knots was over. And so, between all those people, I've been prioritizing getting things done as opposed to, you know, sleep or basic bodily functions. I mean, I guess coffee and sleep. So the 2 of those things are happening. And so to that end, I have been not sleeping the mostest the past week. So then I had another cup of coffee. And then, I can't do an unboxing without a cup of coffee. So we have another cup of coffee. So we're at 5 cups of coffee today, which is good. Because it only slightly, marginally makes up for all the sleep I'm not getting. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. These are the punch boards. There's nothing really special here. I actually have the core box already. I didn't want to wait around that long, and these things are usually pretty cheap. The core boxes, that is, not the rest of everything. And so I bought one on Amazon. Did I trade for it? I can't remember. I have to go check. I either got it on sale or I traded for it, one or the other. So I actually have a core box already that I've been playing through with my son because he and I like Marvel United a lot. And then we have this now. So we have all this stuff over here, all the core boxes. Now, I won't go through all the cards in this game. In fact, I'm not even going to go through the cards in the base box over here. Maybe I'll open them. I don't know. I'm still to figure out how to do. Whenever you have this much content, it's always a bit of a question of how many different ways can you look at miniatures and cards before it's just too much. Because it feels like this would just be too much. There's way too much content here. There is $600 worth of... Is it 600? I have to double check. I know that the all-in from both campaigns, with shipping and everything, was roughly $800 for both campaigns. This is not both campaigns. This is just the Marvel United X-Men campaign, not the original. We have our card decks. If you've seen these before, there's the puzzles. There's the cards over here. The cards over here. We have the specific characters, the bosses you're fighting against, along with all their threat cards over there. That's going to be these things over here. Haven't played... Oh, I played against some of these, I guess. I played against Juggernaut. I know that. We played him against Magneto. Magneto, not Magento. I still want to say Magento every single time. See, that was the job I had. The job I had was working with Magento e-commerce platform. And so I used to say Magento 14 times a day. And Magneto I said once every 4 months. So one time on a video when doing the Marvel United Should You Back It, Should You Not, I was like, oh, we have Magento over here. And the internets were mean to me that day. I mean, not actually mean, bantering mean, which was very, very nice. But also, I said Magento to a few thousand people instead of Magneto. So, some things are just meant to happen. We have our characters over here. Oh, wait till you hear there's a word I say. 1 second, let's go through. We have Jean Grey. We have Magneto. We have Magneto, one of those purple characters. They operate as both a good and bad. We're going to come back to in a second. we have Mystique, we have Professor X, just, you know, the characters, Storm, all these things. Marvel United, in case you didn't know, the general concept of Marvel United, and the reason why you don't need more than, like, a core set and an expansion or something like that, is it's just a round track full of cards, and then from there, what you're doing is, you are playing your cards into a card row. You're going to alternate between playing 3 cards of your own, and then 1 of the evil character's villains' bad cards instead. You can play that to a card row as you take actions and as you share actions. So, as I play down this card over here, I'm going to get a movement and a fight. But then if you follow it up, if Psycho follows it up with that, he's going to get all those actions. So you get 2 movement, a fight, and a heroic action. And the combination of that leads to a very simple, very accessible gameplay that does not have a ton of nuance to it, but is a lot of fun and is very rewarding. Let's go ahead and take a look at these core set heroes. I'm going to be picking and choosing. I don't see a way to do this otherwise. There's too much content to not pick and choose. We'll see what we do. So let's go ahead and take a look at Magento over here. And yes, I intentionally said Magento, because why wouldn't I? You have to, you know, you have to lean into the madness. Dun dun dun. Yeah, he's fun. I mean, the Marvel chibis are fun. I've always enjoyed those. Those were never the question. Who do we want to grab? Let's grab a little bit of Wolverine. Wolverine is an awesome character. He's generally, I mean, he and Batman used to be my favorite characters before the Marvel universe really took off, before MCU became a thing. That was probably offensive. Whenever I say stuff like that, like before the Marvel universe really took off, you know, actual comic book fans are like, oh yeah, the MCU, that's when the Marvel universe took off. I mean, it did. I'm not saying the MCU wasn't big before. I'm not saying the Marvel Universe wasn't big before. But the difference in size between the Marvel Universe pre and post MCU is significant. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not saying I didn't like comics. I always loved comics growing up. But I didn't collect comics. I didn't, like, religiously read them. I would occasionally go to the library, see some comics, get them there. My mother's office. Whenever I take a day off and go to my mother's office, whenever I have a sick day and go to my mother's office, she had comic books in her office and I'd read those. So I read comics infrequently, not religiously, and enjoyed them all. I always liked comic book characters. I just didn't religiously read them all. I had access to them when I had access to them, and I didn't read them the rest of the time, and that was it. Ooh, Storm. It's hard to not to use Storm. Let's take a look at Storm over here. But yeah, and so the MCU for me is very much defined by, the Marvel Universe is very much defined by the MCU, and it's unfortunate, it is what it is, but yeah. Anyways, I say it's unfortunate because I have a degree of apology towards when someone comes late to the party, and then they act like their party is the one that matters. It's a little bit offensive in a way. Like the idea that, you know, to someone who's been a comic book fan their whole life, and then people are like, oh yeah, the MCU, and they act like they're in on it the entire time, when really you're a Marvel fan, and they're someone who became a Marvel fan when it became mainstream. There's a degree of, well, no, I'm the fan and you're not. Which is a stupid thing to think about, don't get me wrong. But there's a little bit of a, I was here first, but your version became popular. It's, I don't know. I don't know how to define it really, but it's one of those interesting things where I think it's just, it's feelings. Feelings matter, I guess. So, $600 or $800 on Marvel United. You see, I find myself in this interesting position on a regular basis. Days of Future Past. Let's take a look at Days of Future Past before we lose all the other people, because we're 13 minutes into this probably hour-long unboxing. So, I have a lot of Marvel United, and I always frequently find myself in a very interesting position. You see, my channel, Board Game Co. By the way, if you're new here, please like and subscribe and all those things. I have a Patreon down below. All those things, and stuff, I guess, yeah. But, my channel, to a large degree, did grow because of the way I looked at Kickstarter campaigns, because of the way I was like, don't back this, do back that, you know, this will hold its value, that won't hold its value. And I still do that to this day. I still talk about whether things will hold its value. Bardsung, by the way. You know what I just saw the prices of? Bardsung. I bought Bardsung, and I backed it, I should say, backed Bardsung, and I had tried the game briefly on TTS. I had a single boss fight, and my reaction after it, and I filmed this all, but my reaction was, I was like, that was fun. I'm also not sold yet, but whatever, it'll hold its value. And so I went ahead and backed it, because if it's not for me, I'll sell it. Do you know how much? And I got an all-in, and I thought that was a mistake. I thought that was a bad move. I was like, I shouldn't have gone all-in. I should have got the base pledge. Do you know how much, like, the 220 euro all-in is going for on eBay? Like, $600. So it'll hold its value. More than I thought it would, but wow. And it's selling for, not just asking price, selling for. So if you are someone who backed Bardsung, and you don't anticipate getting it to the table anytime soon, I recommend you sell it, because it's worth a lot of money. Anyways, so come back to what I'm talking about over here. So we have the Marvel United, we have the Welcome to Project Nimrod. We have the 3 giant sentinels over here. I'm not going to read rules for all this stuff. Some of the stuff I've read the rules, not read the rules. Some of the stuff I read the overviews and the details and how they work during the Kickstarter campaign. But it's been a while, and so I don't remember the details. We have this. I hope we have this as a thicker piece. We might have this as a thicker piece. This, because I have all the thicker plastic, the thicker cardboard components and all that for this stuff, but this should definitely be a thicker piece. We'll figure it out. Anyways, let's take a look at this stuff. So, I find myself in this interesting position of always talking about holding its value and should you back it, should you not, but then I find myself on the reverse end doing things like this, where I spend $600 on a board game that I probably don't need. I say probably because I really don't need it, and it's just nicer to myself to say probably. But the interesting part is that it's this weird dichotomy, because it's like I talk about hold its value and I talk about being thrifty and being mindful of spending and being mindful of your money, and then I do this, which is an interesting conversation, but it's also one that reminds me of Russell Peters. Okay, Russell Peters, who is a comedian. I don't know how popular or known he is these days, but I remember like 10 years ago maybe, he was hilarious and all over the place, and I really loved his stuff. I haven't listened to him in years. But he had one bit, well, he had many bits that I thought were hilarious, but he had one bit that I thought was on point, because it was about Jewish people and Indian people. He's Indian for context, I'm Jewish, so we got those bases covered. But we have over here, starting hand. So we have Logan, Old Man Logan. Let's take a look at Old Man Logan's cards. I like Old Man Logan. I like the idea of a chibi old man miniature. I mean, again, these cards are not that interesting. That's my biggest complaint with Marvel United, has always been that the cards are not that interesting. Fighting experience, draw a card. Like, we have his special ability is the exact same thing 3 times. It's so ridiculously boring. And then we have this one, which starts in his hand. That's the nice thing that Marvel United X-Men added, that the cards start in your hand. Withstanding the pain. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, you may ignore 1 damage during each villain turn. That's intriguing. I do like that. So part of the problem, so starting hand abilities almost act as a character ability. It almost acts as if you have a character dashboard, and because it's always in play, or could always be in play, it adds a lot of nuance to the fact that your character might actually have an ongoing ability as opposed to being, you know, diluted to attack, move, attack, fight. Yeah, so it's attack, fight. That would be fight. But yeah, I really like Marvel United, but I wish the characters felt more different, even after X-Men, even after the X-Men change. So, we have the Sentinel cards over here. After each hero turn, the Sentinel matching the hero's Sentinel target token activates following the Sentinel. I'm not going to do everything. This would take way too long. I'm not going to do that. We have Nimrod over here, and then we can go ahead and take a look at what you're all here for, which is the miniatures. So, we'll come back to Russell Peters shortly. In general, because of the very nature of my unboxing and ramblings, where I talk about anything, everything, and whatever, it does mean that very often I start a train of thought, open a box, get distracted, come back to something else, and start an entirely new train of thought. If you ever feel like you're missing something that I was talking about, feel free to post it in the comments down below. I may or may not actually see it. Well, I always see them, but then I always mean to reply. In my head, I'm always catching up to all the comments. Like, in my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm just going to catch up and get ahead of the game, and obviously I don't, because I can't catch up. But I think I will, and so I always get to some comments. I don't get to others. The sad nature is that the reality of comments is that very often the comments that are like more intricate and more detailed, that really require more of a response, those take longer to engage with, and so I'm like, oh, I'll reply to that later, and then they get lost and buried in the feed, versus someone who's like, you know, thanks for the video, I can just write back, yeah, sure, or whatever it is. So the comments that should get more detail don't always get, but I try. I do. I do reply to a lot of comments every single day. I just can't keep up with everything. These are cool. I like these. These are nice. And, I mean, look at the sizing comparison. Look at the sizing comparison between these. We're going to do this on the top camera in a second. So, we have a Sentinel. We will look at all the Sentinels. They can barely fit on the camera. And here, for context, is Wolverine. That's Wolverine next to the Sentinel, facing off. Yeah, my name is Wolverine. I'm Old Man Logan. You can't hurt me. He hurt him. He did hurt him. Also, he's down there. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, Sentinels. Sentinels are fun. You know, even if they do crush Logan, Logan is all good. We're all fine. I do worry, by the way. Whenever I do those things, it's like the chances of it getting actually cracked from what I'm doing are not the biggest, but you never really know. These are nice giant pieces of plastic. Completely unnecessary. I mean, they're going to be cool on the timeline, but it's like not even a dungeon crawler. There's just like a board. But like, look at this. Look at this activation character. I mean, these characters are cool. I do want to dive into this one first. Like, this is the first expansion I want to pull out and play with, like, the base Marvel United X-Men, because these look like they should be easy enough to table. We have this over here. Let's try to pull it back so you can get a nice cinematic look of Wolverine, of Old Man Logan, facing off against them and being completely destroyed. Let's put this one over here. That one seems to be more thematic. You see he's crushing him, and then boom, again, killed him. Ta-da! Okay, cool. So, that's that over there. Let's go ahead and keep going through this. So this is box 1 over here, or box whatever. And let's put this away. And put this down over here. And move on to the next box. Alright, let's take a look at Horsemen of the Apocalypse. Okay, we have a whole lot of boxes to go through. Apologies for the length here. But anyways, Russell Peters. Come back to Russell Peters. I feel like I was in the middle of something else. Old Man Logan. This, that. Nope, Russell Peters. So, Russell Peters has a bit about, he's like, people think Jews are cheap. Okay. Also, I'm about to get into some stereotype humor, but it's partially from me and partially from Russell Peters, and it's about Indians and Jews, so we have, we'll see, either way. So, Horsemen of the Apocalypse, I should go to Russell Peters, shouldn't I? This is the problem. This is the problem with these things. I'm just all over the place. This expansion brings heroes face-to-face with Apocalypse, an insurmountable villain supported by his 4 horsemen. So this is going to be most similar to Thanos in the original Marvel United. Locations to be used in the set or mixed into other encounters. Before taking on Apocalypse, players can attempt to weaken his lieutenants by engaging in the Horsemen of Apocalypse mode. In this unique game mode, players face each of the 4 horsemen in sequence over a single epic game. So yeah, this is basically the Marvel, the Thanos version, the Gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet. That's the one. We have the Starlit Citadel. We have the Apocalypse board. We have these locations over here. Only 2 locations. Apocalypse's Pyramid. I watched X-Men Apocalypse. I enjoyed it. It wasn't the best. I mean, like, I don't know. I don't think. I remember X-Men 1 and X-Men 2 really blew my mind away. Blew my mind away, blew my head off. I don't know. They were enjoyable movies is what I'm trying to say. But the entire X-Men reboot, I want to watch the entire X-Men series again, honestly. I think I want to watch the entire X-Men start to finish before Marvel ultimately totally incorporates it into the MCU, and then people can be like, oh yeah, I love the X-Men universe. I've loved it my entire life ever since they started making movies about it, and then other people can lose their minds over that because that's what we've talked about already. So, we have the 4 horsemen over here. We have famine, we have war, we have pestilence, and we have death, as you might imagine. And then, of course, we have Apocalypse himself with all his cards. Let's see what Apocalypse has. Death Unleashed. If Death is in play, he activates his BAM. If Death has been defeated, put him back in play, weaken side face up, in the next clockwise location without a threat. Then play another Master Plan card. Interesting. Okay, don't know much about this yet. I'd have to read it. We have War. These are the threat cards. We have the Apocalypse over here. Oh, Apocalypse is a hero too. Oh, purple hero. That's right. So we got one of those purple characters who they're both ways. So let's go ahead and take a look. We can probably put the cards back. By the way, the storage for this stuff is going to be a nightmare. I'm going to do what I always do with this stuff, which is I'm going to dump a bunch of boxes, and then we'll deal with the rest of it. I'm not going to keep all these boxes. I'm going to figure out how to best condense it all once I have all the cardboard locations, and we'll just figure it out. So, we have, I believe, War, but honestly, I don't remember which one's which. Famine, Death. I don't know which one of these are which, and I forgot about the cards already, so we're just going to say Horseman number 1. Horseman number 1. Riding his little dinosaur person, I guess, kind of, you know, situation. Nice miniatures, all that stuff. We'll go through all of these, maybe. I don't know. I just feel this unboxing is going to be forever. Anyways, so, Russell Peters. Russell Peters has a bit. He's like, people think Jews are cheap. He's like, Jews are not cheap. He's like, Indians are cheap. He's like, you know what a Jew will do? A Jew will walk into a store and be like, pick up a shirt or whatnot. He'll feel the material and he'll be like, I don't know. I guess it feels like, how much do you want for it? Oh, 20 bucks. I guess it feels like good quality. Okay, fine, I'll take it. Meaning a degree of evaluation, procedural, determining whether it's worth it. He's like, Jews are thrifty. They're not cheap. They just want to make sure it's a good price, a good deal, but they'll go ahead and buy it. He's like, Indians are cheap. And then he proceeds to make jokes about Indians being cheap that I feel a little less comfortable making, just because I don't know what trouble I'd get in if I did, so I'm not going to. But he makes more jokes about Indians being cheap. I'm not here to talk about the Indian part of things. I'm here to talk about the Jew part of things. Because at least speaking for myself, the first time I heard that clip, the first time I heard that little joke, I was like, that is funny, but it's funny because it's true. I agree with that mindset. I don't think of most Jews as being cheap. There are stereotypes around, and I'm going to offend some people with this. I shouldn't be doing things like this, but whatever. But there are stereotypes. Stereotypes exist. Stereotypes can be problematic, can be offensive. I'm not going to get into that right now. But I will say that there is a stereotype of Jews being cheap, which I've always found amusing because the nature of what I do on my channel is I sit there and say, this is something that you should not spend money on, it's too expensive, which is a very Jewish thing to do. But it's not cheapness, it's thriftiness. I will spend $700 or $800 on all the Marvel United stuff, because it holds its value. It's a worthwhile deal. It makes sense to, well, it doesn't make sense to buy it, but it does hold its value. This stuff, if I want to turn around and sell it, if I change my mind, if I need to sell it for any reason, it's basically an investment. It literally is an investment. My game collection is worth more than I paid for it. Maybe, probably. It's hard to say for sure, but I remember a long time ago I actually did this thing. BGG, Board Game Geek, had a tool where you can take a look at, this is the X-Force expansion, Board Game Geek had a tool where you can take a look at the value of your collection, and at the time I was still actively tracking every single thing I had spent on my collection. And my collection was worth more than I paid for it. We'll come back to that. This expansion adds 4 elite heroes, a bloodthirsty villain, new locations, and the new hazardous locations challenge. These can either be used in isolation to create the extreme X-Force experience, or mixed with other heroes, villains, locations, and challenges from the core box and other expansions to create infinite different play experiences. So, going back to BGG, so they have this tool. You could look at the value of your collection. I did so. This is actually one of the reasons, way back, this is before I turned like Board Game Co. into a business and whatnot, but one of the reasons for it was the fact that I saw that what I had spent on my collection was significantly less than what my collection was worth according to the average used market prices for those games. So that, in general, I used to be very mindful of being thrifty about what I bought, of buying things, having way more games than I need to or should, but trying to buy them as affordably as I can at the right price points, all those things. This is true even here when I spend money on these over-the-top Kickstarters. And spend money is the key term. I remember I had a person, I can't remember when it was a while back, and it wasn't an aggressive comment. Domino, we have Cannonball. Keep in mind, I don't know half the X-Men, because, again, I don't read comics actively. I read comics when I happen to be somewhere where they have, I know Cable, guess why I know Cable? Because he's in the movie. He's in a movie, that's why I know Cable. I actually know Cable from before the movie, but I want to lean into this whole, I don't know comics thing. But yeah, I read comics when they're available. I like comics when they're available. I don't seek them out. Anyways, what was I talking about? I got nothing. Collection value, price points. Oh yeah, I had a comment once, okay? Here's Cannonball. I know that because he looks like he's being exploded from a cannon. But I had a comment on a video a while ago. It was an unboxing, and it was a nice comment, but it was like, it was somebody saying, hey, you know, I like your channel, I like your stuff, etc., etc. But, like, it's kind of hard to, like, really get a feel for these unboxings because, you know, the publisher's just sending you everything, and it's hard to imagine you'd spend all this money on these unboxings, on these games, these all-ins, if they weren't being sent to you. And I was like, I mean, I do spend money on these games, and I used to do this stuff all the time before I became a content creator, so this is not a content creator thing. Now, don't get me wrong, I do get things from publishers, and I have gotten all-ins from publishers, but if you see me unboxing an all-in, there's a decent chance that I'm the one who bought it all, and in the past, I also bought it all. In general, by the way, whenever I review games, like, publishers will send me stuff, but my general rule of thumb is that I only actually ask for stuff, or will accept offers for stuff, if I would have bought it, as a general rule. Like, there are so many games. You could track this if you paid enough attention to what I do. But there are so many games I cover for the channel, and I don't bother getting the game after because I didn't love it. If I give it a 3 out of 5, I'm like, hey, here's a Kickstarter preview, review, whatever, and I cover the game. I'm like, oh, it's good, it's this, that, 3 out of 5. I mean, I could ask the publisher for the game. If I don't want to buy it, I'm not going to do that. Because, let me explain in a second. Basically, to ask for a game that I don't want, or to accept a game that I don't want, only so that I can sell it, feels wrong. It feels like I'm just accepting a monetary return. So when that happens, more often than not, if I do get a game that I wouldn't have bought myself, which does happen occasionally, sometimes they're like, hey, thanks so much for being part of the campaign, we'd like to get you this game. More often than not, at that point, what I'll do with it is I'll do a giveaway, or I'll give it to a friend. It feels a little weird to... There's all these interesting, weird lines about what's ethical, what's not ethical. Everyone will have their own different standards, for the record. People will be on all kinds of levels of what they prefer, what they don't prefer. I have my own standards, and by listening to these unboxing ramblings, you get to find out what they are, and whether they bother you or not. It's not going to necessarily change my standards unless I got like a massive outpouring of, wow, my gosh, you're the terriblest person ever. Welcome to Phoenix 5. This expansion allows players to face the growing menace of 5 Phoenix-possessed villains in a daunting 5-game campaign. When you defeat one of the Phoenix 5, the shard of the Phoenix Force is absorbed by the next one you'll face, so their powers will go stronger with each subsequent battle. How far can you go? Even the aid of the powerful hope summons may not be enough to defeat a villain imbued by the full Phoenix Force. So another version of the what's it called? The Thanos Infinity Gauntlet. So, if I accept a game from a publisher, and I wouldn't have backed the game, and I didn't love the game, and I'm just accepting it so that I can resell it, at that point it starts to feel almost like payment for the game. Almost. Not exactly like payment. I didn't ask for payment for coverage. I didn't do my coverage for payment. It's kind of a, here's a gift after the fact, but it just feels a little iffy. And so again, more often than not, at that point I try to give it away in some sense, or something like that, or again, either a giveaway or just give it away. But on the other hand, if it's a game I do like and would have bought, and I just don't want to spend the money on it, because, not don't want to, but if it's like the publisher's like, hey, by the way, this game that you would have spent money on, we'd like to give it to you, then it's like a savings of money. But it's something I like, which is ultimately the same thing. In both cases, you're accepting a form of payment, but in one of them I feel like I'm literally trading it for money, and the other one I feel like I'm not spending money. It's a small nuanced difference, but I guess the short version is at the end of the day, I get games from publishers. Most of the, I'd say still most of the collection I have is still being bought myself, but I get games from publishers, and I do unboxings from publishers, but all-ins, I got those all the time. I only go all-in. It's a problem. It's very, very infrequent where I don't go all-in. I either get the entire thing for the game, or I don't get the entire game entirely. What's the last thing that I was able to have self-control? There was a game where I was able to convince myself not to go all in. I don't remember what it was, but it's like one time. I do have that all or nothing mentality. It's a mistake. You shouldn't. It's a logical fallacy. You should not need to go all or nothing. I sit there on the channel and I'll tell you don't need to go all or nothing. If it didn't exist, then you'd be fine with the base pledge. Now that it does exist, why are you saying you can't get the game at all because it exists? But I recognize the fallacy of it while still engaging in that fallacy myself. We have Iceman, or Aquaman. Is it Aquaman? It's Aquaman. We have Aquaman, okay? Here we go. Here's Aquaman. They just made a movie about Aquaman. They made 2 movies about him, okay? So, by the way, right about now, in case you are offended by the fact that I don't understand that this is not Aquaman, I recognize it's not Aquaman, okay? Aquaman is in Harry Potter, not the Marvel Universe, obviously. So, from here, we have more characters. We have Fire Sword Girl. Again, I don't know these characters. I'm sorry. I just don't. It is what it is. I know some characters. I do not know all of them. I do know Namor. I think it's Namor. If it's not Namor, this time I'm not actually joking. If it's not Namor, then I don't know who it is. But I think it's Namor. This basically looks like Cyclops, but it's not actually Cyclops. So the question is, who is it? I'm sure I could look at the cards and find out, but it's a member of the valuable X-Force. It's not Cyclops, because Cyclops is not a villain. That's a good hint. My first hint should be it's not a villain. Also, I already saw Cyclops. So, more characters. Again, it's not going to be absolutely everything. It's going to be just showing you what I can, when I can, and then continuing on to the next box, because that's the only way we'll be able to make this in a somewhat manageable time frame. So, we've covered a few things today. We've covered unboxings, we've covered publishers, we've covered Indians versus Jews, which definitely not going to timestamp anything with that title, because that would be a mistake. We covered whether I can cover this box back up in general at all, or whether I am stuck with the victim. Ugh. What is up with this? Okay, let's try this again. This is getting stuck over there. I'm going to go ahead. It just feels like it should go down, but it's not, because the box thingy is dented inwards in a way that, there we go. That is really annoying. That insert's going to be the first one to go. Oh, whoops, and then there's that. Hey, Namor! Is it Namor? It might be Namor. I don't know. I'm sorry. If they didn't pronounce his name in a movie, then I've only ever read his name in a comic, and that's just not enough to get this accurate. But it is the Phoenix 5. So, anyways, we'll do the giant stretch goal box last. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. We'll figure out the order. What's next? Deadpool! Deadpool! I want to dive into Deadpool this weekend. Okay, that'll be fun. Deadpool. Oh my gosh, I wanted to dive into Deadpool. Oh, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to have my son pick a box, and I'm going to go into it with him that way. Also, I'm going to have to like start sleeving this stuff. Oh my gosh, I need sleeves. I really need sleeves. This is a pain. Sleeve Kings, my go-to brand, they haven't run a Kickstarter in a bit, and I'm running low on their main sleeve size. Now, I could buy them online, and I have to stem the flow, but the problem is, getting them anywhere outside the Kickstarter does cost more. I bashed up on all their sleeves doing the Kickstarter, and for like 2 years I didn't have to buy more sleeves, but I finally ran out of the main primary size. Welcome to the Madhouse. This expansion does not add heroes you need, but the ones you deserve right now. One of them is an anti-hero, meaning he can suck not only as a hero, but also as a villain. Yes, Bob, we're talking about you. This is Deadpool. Okay, Deadpool, he's a fun guy. I like Bob. Bob almost killed us once when we were playing Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies I'm excited about. This is interesting. It's so interesting the nature of games, of collections, of what you get, of what you go with. This die should be over here. No, where is this die? Why is this little number? Why is this usually a little pool where this goes? Whatever. Anyways, games are a fun thing. Games, there's so many good games. There's so many different choices as to the games you want to keep, the games you want to play, the games you want to own, what games you do and don't. I find my collection constantly filtering towards a better and better space as I get rid of games that don't excite me as much as the next one, but it's not that they don't excite me. I just find I continuously have to be more selective every year that goes by. I have to become more and more selective. It's just the nature of the game. I love the art on the Deadpool cards, the way they break the fourth wall. A little more conversation. Oh, do they need some me time? Oh, no. I thought I was going to sing. Each hero discards one action token if they have any. If there are crisis tokens in play, discard one hero's choose. Deadpool Chaos, Deadpool Party. The last hero player to attend a pool party draws one card. Anybody who's never been to a pool party takes 1 damage. I have never been to a pool party. Well, this expansion's stupid. I don't think I've been to a pool party. No, I have been to a pool party. In 5th grade. I'm just saying 5th grade. It might have been 6th. It might have been 4th. In 5th grade, I went to a pool party. I don't remember much about it. I remember it was my friend's house, and it was a birthday party, and we were at the pool. That counts as a pool party, right? Doesn't matter if it's 5th grade. This does not specify an age. I remember there's a goodie bag at the end of it. I remember his name. I'm not going to say it on camera. That'd be weird. I don't remember anything else about it. But that's good enough. That should count. Anyways, Deadpool. So we have more Deadpool. Psst, hey, yes, you. This, I like it. I like this stuff. I like this. Oh, no. Oh, I love watching heroes try to clear this. Only, oh my gosh. Wow. That's so messed up. Wasting your wilds. Oh, I love watching heroes try to clear this. Only wilds can be used to clear this threat. Grants +5 extra points when cleared. Are there points? Are there points in this? Calculate your score. There is points. Okay. I wasn't sure. You see, the nature of Deadpool being like meta and breaking the meta is that it would be very on brand for a card to be particularly difficult, give you points, and not have points be a metric at all. That would be very on brand for Deadpool. Turns out I'm actually a little disappointed there are points. Then we have Bob, Agent of Hydra. We have Kingpin, Tiger Shark, Red Skull, more Deadpool, more Deadpool, more Deadpool, and more Bob, more Bob, more Bob, more Bob, and Lady Deadpool. We have Lady Deadpool. We have a bunch of Deadpools. Let's go ahead and go through this. Bob is an anti-hero, which means he can be either side. This time we're going to go through all the characters because it's Deadpool. Why wouldn't I? This is Lady Deadpool over here. Lady Deadpool is fantastic. She's Deadpool, but she's a lady. Ta-da! Hence the name Lady Deadpool. Then we have Deadpool in like 14 different forms. Anti-hero, regular hero, straight-up villain. Deadpool's like really trying to check all the boxes. He's really... Unicorn Deadpool might be my favorite. This is the anti-hero Deadpool. Okay, we got anti-hero Deadpool on a unicorn that looks very unhealthy. This reminds me of the unicorns from Unstable Unicorns, which, by the way, ironically, were unstable. Not ironically, actually, that would be the nature of the song. You ever listen to Alanis Morissette's Isn't It Ironic? Isn't it ironic? Don't you think? Isn't it ironic? That is something, can't remember the rest. It's like rain on your wedding day. That's not ironic. Rain on your wedding day is not ironic. That's not how it works. Rain on your wedding day is annoying and it's frustrating. It's not ironic. Okay, that's not how irony works. I remember, and she actually did a bit on, I don't remember which late night host, but she went on a late night host years later, and she, I think it was Corbin. What's his name? Something Corbin, right? That is his name. James Corden, not Harlan Corbin, James Corden. I think she went on James Corden and talked about the whole isn't it ironic conversation, and I think they counted 1.5 instances of irony. Or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe she just went on James Corden to talk about it. But I think there's actually a famous post or something. But basically, Alanis Morissette's Ironic is a song about irony. Except if you actually if you listen to the song, I believe there's like 2.5 instances of irony. There's 2 instances of actual irony, and then a half that could be debated as to whether it is or isn't. And the rest of the stuff is not ironic. Rain on your wedding day is not ironic. It's just not how irony works. Irony is an actual, there's too much stuff. I'm gonna keep stacking these boxes. I'm worried they're gonna like fall over on top of my coffee. My coffee, for context, is sitting on my Ember mug off to the side. That's the way it can keep charging over here, so it can keep staying warm throughout this video. Speaking of which, that makes up for the whole sleep thing. Because sleep-wise, I'm currently on day 5 of people being in town for an entire week straight. They've been taking shifts. Max was here Sunday. Devin was here Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Max was here part of Monday. No, Max was. I think Max was gone Monday. Then Austin 5e Games is here Wednesday, Thursday, and Wednesday, Thursday. That's it. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That's what he's here. Tuesday evening, Wednesday, and then part of Thursday. And then as of Friday, we will have no one here. So Friday, which is tomorrow for me, is when I can actually get some sleep in. But either way, anyways, let's go ahead and go through this. Gold team over here. Let's get this up. We have this Gold Team. Welcome to the team. This is mentioned as not only a team of 5 new iconic heroes, an influential villain, new location, but also the game-changing team versus team mode. I'm excited for that one. That's when you basically like stomp on each other's faces as you play cards to the team storylines. So I think I'll come back to the coffee situation later and my lack of sleep in a minute. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and actually pretend that we're looking. Sebastian Shaw. Sebastian Shaw. I have no clue who that is. I recognize the name. I've seen him in something or talked about something. Hellfire Club, Limbo, Krikora, and Chandelier Shi'ar Empire. I got nothing, I'm sorry. I really want to rewatch the X-Men movies. Again, Marvel will take it over. I'm sure of it. At this point, the whole Sony situation and everything, I think Marvel is going to be... Sony can't seem to make a good superhero movie without Marvel involved. Or they can be decent, but they're not the same. They're not the same level of quality. And so I think more and more we're going to see a drift into Marvel taking over basically everything in association with creating a continued shared storyline and shared universe and all that stuff. It'll be good for both companies. The question is, at any given point, both companies can get more greedy about how much value they add. Marvel saying, hey, no, it's us doing the movies, and Sony saying, hey, it's our characters and our IP now because we currently licensed it, and you can't say, no, no take backsies, or technically Sony's saying, no take backsies. But that actually results in a genuine problem of both people feeling like they're adding too much. And the conversations get complicated. Like, cause people are just like, hey, I don't know if you remember, during the whole Spider-Man situation, there was a point where we weren't sure if Spider-Man and Sony and Marvel were all going to continue working together and all that. And so part of the inherent conversation is Marvel's challenge is saying, hey, we can invest our time, energy, and resources into a movie where we will get everything from it, or we can invest our time, resources, and energy into a movie where we will not get everything from it. So why would we do that for only 50-50? It doesn't matter if it's fair or not fair, it's just not worth our time. So, hey, your perception is that's worth your time? That's fine, but it's not worth our time. So Marvel really has to make both sides have to make the real economic determination of what makes sense for them. What is the actual win-win? Because it's not necessarily purely about selfishness. Sometimes it's about the fact that it just might not be the right move to team up. Even though we, as the audience, obviously want it to happen, that doesn't mean it's the right move. Sometimes life is complicated. Life is not always so simple and hunky-dory. Sometimes these things are like, hey, why can't we all just get along? And the answer is because millions of dollars are at stake as our stakeholders and shareholders and conversations and all these things. And so you have to have a real, genuine conversation about what makes sense. And if it's not a fit, it's not a fit. Life does not always have to be about good people and bad people, about winning and losing. Sometimes it's just messy and complicated. And the end result is you do or don't get that Spider-Man movie that you're looking for, or the X-Men universe that I'm looking for. I like the X-Men. I don't see how you can really replace, obviously you can and they will because it's getting it'll be too hard not to the more time goes on, but replacing Wolverine is very hard. Hugh Jackman personified Wolverine. We've had 2 different Professor X's. I thought both did a fantastic job in their roles in terms of the young and old Professor X. We've had 2 different Jean Greys. I thought they both did a fantastic... Honestly, I think most of the X-Men universe, both new and old, I think both of them were excellently cast. The movies were all enjoyable, better than a lot of other stuff that has been done, but is X-Men Fox? I think X-Men is owned by Fox. Sony owns Fantastic Four and Spider-Man. X-Men is owned by Fox, if I recall correctly. This expansion adds the first appearance incarnations of the X-Men heroes, a twin set of mutant villains, new locations, and a new Danger Room challenge. Okay, more stuff. Yeah, this one, if I recall correctly, wasn't that impactful in what it added, but just stuff, more stuff. Let's go ahead and toss that onto the ever-growing pile of garbage on the floor. Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Ooh, they start the game with, ooh, a double hero. Ooh, look at that. Look at that double hero situation. They're both going to be in the game. Both of them messing up and teaming up in you. I remember doing the, doing the Kickstarter. I was like, I don't want, Scarlet Witch to be a bad guy. She's such a good person because I just watched WandaVision. And someone's like, yeah, she's just a good person. I can't say anything without... The problem is I can't answer this now without being spoilers. I'm not going to make spoilers. I'm not going to say any spoilers. Even though WandaVision has been out for a while, I respect the spoiler situation, so I'm not going to say anything. But the person said, yeah, she's such a good person, blank, blank, blank. And I was like, you're not wrong. I still like WandaVision. I still like Wanda. Ooh, here are training cards. Training cards. Am I going to try to poke this with my knife? Smaller packs of cards are often wound a bit tighter and require a bit more preciseness with the knife to either ensure that you don't cut yourself and to ensure you don't cut the cards. And sometimes it can take a little bit of time. That one did not take time. But we have these over here. No idea what these do. I'll read them up all later, I'm sure. we have WandaVision's already in the original game. So we already have a WandaVision in Marvel, because Wanda is in Marvel. She's also in X-Men. So we have that crossover aspect. A few characters, I think, have that situation, if I recall correctly. Do I recall correctly? I don't remember now. But here's Wanda. Mean Wanda, as we like to say. The other Wanda is much nicer, because she's a superhero. Because there's Superhero Wanda and there's Mean Wanda, and they both have their own roles to play. We also have Superhero Quicksilver and Mean Quicksilver. They're not really anti-heroes, because they just have a mean version and a superhero version, but that is what it is. And then we have all the other characters, the smaller characters. Here's, you know, young Cyclops, so we have more Cyclops in case you want that. There's just way too many chibis. I need to just grab a giant box and dump them in. See, this is one of the things I like with Tom Vassell. He just will literally just take all the stuff, toss them into a giant box, and not care at all. I care more than he does. At least, I shouldn't say I care more than he does. I am more careful than he is. Caring is not such a easy conversation. I care a lot about this stuff. I just don't care about things that get in the way of accessing the game, and I don't believe hurt the game. And that happens a lot. Lots of times people are like, you have to give them in their plastic clamshell. I don't, and I let my kids play with them, and everything seems to be going just fine. So, it is what it is. Here we go. We're down to 2 boxes left, and then we have the big stretch goal box, and then finally we have everything else. Ooh, Fantastic Four. Let's do Fantastic Four last. Let's do the blue team over here. Yeah, Marvel Zombies. I'm excited for Marvel Zombies. Very, very, very excited. That one is... Marvel United I like, but one of the things I've pointed out, and I've actually talked about Marvel United in a lot of videos, and it's continuing to grow on me. I really like what Marvel United does. I really like how easy it is to sit down and play, and I have a lot of fun when I play it. Now, the thing that's interesting is, because I've gotten mixed feedback when I say that. There's a lot of people who are like, yeah, I love Marvel United, and some people are like, it's a kid's game. And the answer is yes to both. Marvel United is a kid's game. But it is a kid's game where I could sit down and play it with somebody in my game group, and would. If one of my friends said, and we almost did this, I almost played it with Devin the other day just to prove a point, but I would genuinely sit down and play this with anyone I'm friends with, and just have a good time playing a light, simple, accessible game. It's not a game that I mind playing. It's not a game I'm sacrificing to play with my kids. It's not... There are many kids games that I really enjoy. Let's take a look. Cloaked Cats. Cloaked Cats from Hava. Kids game that I really enjoy. I will not play it with my game group. Absolutely not. It's just not going to happen. It's a game I play with my family and my kids, and that's it. But I will play Marvel United, even though it's probably the same level of complexity as Cloaked Cats, but I like Marvel United. Something about it is very compelling. We have Mr. Sinister over here. Is that Morbius? No Morbius over here. Anyways, so, yeah, I really like Marvel United. It's continuously gone up for me. My sense of just how much fun it is to have all the content, all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it does fall in the category of a game that I will not often suggest to play with my game group. Or never. I don't think I'll ever just play with my game group. If it happens to come up for one reason or another to play it with people, maybe at a convention because it's on a table, there are times where it's easier to dive into a game like this. It's not going to be the thing I generally go to as my go-to game to play with people in my game group, but I would do so. Versus X-Men, versus Marvel Zombies. Marvel Zombies, I'm very excited to play with my game group because I like Marvel Zombies. I've played Marvel Zombies. It's delightful. It's excellent. Gambit. Gambit. We have Gambit over here. We have Jubilee. Jubilee, I believe, was in the very first episode of the X-Men TV show ever. I say that because I watched the first episode. After the whole Marvel United everything, I watched the first episode because I found... Where did I find it? It streams... Oh, it's on... I think it's on Disney Plus, if I'm not mistaken. Here's Gambit. Let's take a look at Gambit with his playing cards. Those are Gambit's playing cards being actively thrown, which is really not bad, honestly. That's not a bad, like, throwing set of playing cards. It could be better, but, I mean, given the nature of plastic production and how thin cards actually are, this is not bad for what I would expect. In fact, one of the things that was interesting, this is where we'll have to see how they do it in terms of Marvel Zombies, is Doctor Strange's character in Marvel Zombies, if you saw the sculpt. The art versus the sculpt was such a letdown because it's not that the sculpt was bad. It's just the art was so good. The art was so good for the Doctor Strange zombified character, and then the sculpt was multiple steps back from the art because of the nature of the fact that you just can't do the same things. You cannot do the same level of quality to a sculpt as you can to art because there are, practically speaking, restrictions and limitations around how you can work with plastics and molding and all that stuff. So that was interesting. But I do like the the Gambit card over there. This is really unhealthy, just the amount of stuff here. We're almost done. We're making our way towards the end over here. What else can we talk about? Because this is a longer unboxing than normal. But I will say, hey, let's talk about this. There are more unboxings coming your way. Again, I find this regularly happens. I'll go through a period of several months without a good unboxing video because nothing large arrived, and I try not to do unboxing videos around every single game. I try to save it and reserve it for the bigger titles. Just because I don't know. I don't know why necessarily. I'm excited about the bigger titles. I'm excited about the boxes full of plastic. I know that some people hate that. Some people love it. I like it. Join me if you like it. Don't if you don't. Welcome to the family. This expansion has a family of 4 classic heroes, the Cosmic Ally, a megalomaniacal anti-hero, and a shape-shifting villain, as well as new locations, and the new Takeover Challenge. These can either be used in isolation to create that fantastic family experience, or mix with other heroes, villains, locations, and challenges from the core box and other expansions to create infinite different play experiences. The video is getting long, so I'm rushing through things. But, unboxings. Right now, I have a whole bunch of things coming my way. Okay, I still have Wonderland's War coming. I still have to unbox the Hunter's AD, which I've been taking my time with that one because I want to get a little more familiar with it again. It's been a while. That was one of the few games that I should not have backed that game. I backed it because people said it was a great game, and I was saying I wasn't going to back it, and people were like, you should totally back it, it's a great game, and I was like, yay, and then I backed it, which was peer pressure. The problem with that, I don't mind peer pressure. The problem is I never got excited about it. I never got excited. I just backed it. It was never like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited about it. It was like, oh, it's a great game, and then I backed it, and that was a mistake. Now, I do believe it'll hold its value, or mostly hold its value, but still, I shouldn't have backed it. Anyways, I need to look into it more, get a better feel for it from when I last checked it off, like 2 years ago, before I unboxed it. Because I like having some idea. Like, I don't really talk about the game as much as I talk about peripherals, but I like having some general idea of what it actually is happening, and past the fact that the Hunter's AD is a campaign survival game that is supposedly really, really good, don't know enough about it. But I'll have that one, because that arrived ready. I'll have Wonderland's Wars in unboxing. I will have... What else will I have? I will have different things. Words. I have... Oh, I have Massive Darkness. Massive Darkness will be an unboxing shortly. That one's coming. There's going to be other things too. There's a whole lot of stuff that just kind of got held off because of all the shipping freight crisis. People kept just pushing it off, and then things started getting a little better. They got a little worse again because of everything going on in Ukraine, unfortunately. Not obviously, delayed shipping on board games is not the biggest problem with what's going on in Ukraine, obviously. But, basically, we have a whole bunch of things coming, from Oathsworn to Massive Darkness to the Hunter's AD to Wonderland's War. I feel like there's other things. I feel like there's 1 or 2 other games that I have to get around to unboxing. We have Mr. Fantastic. We have perform actions of the same type as all action tokens on the Fantastic Four card. Then add 1 wild token from the pool to the Fantastic Four card. Don't know what's going on there. I think I'd have to read more about the Fantastic Four card. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, which means it's going to be a starting hand card. Yeah, okay. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, when the top card of the Master Plan deck is revealed, you may choose not to take any damage until the beginning of your next turn. If you do so, next turn you must play your card face down. That's okay. I prefer Logan's version. Let's see what we got here. Just more things. Let's go with the thing. Rock-like Skin. Is this going to be a starting hand? It is starting hand. Rock-like Skin. As long as this card is face up in the storyline, you may ignore 1 damage during each villain turn. You see, that's much simpler, much more basic. That's basically Logan, isn't it? Copies. It's almost like if you have 7,000 characters, you're going to copy stuff. That's offensive. So, let's go through some of these. This one has a lot of cool characters. So do the stretch goals, though. We have, Human Torch over here. Johnny Storm over there. The Human Torch. This is one of the characters who's played... How many people have played 2 characters in a superhero movie? I'm curious. Obviously we have Deadpool. Ryan Reynolds played as Deadpool and, whatever he was, Project X. And Green Lantern, obviously. Project X is basically Deadpool in a matter of speaking. And then we have played as Green Lantern. So Ryan Reynolds played it. Then we have Chris, I'm blanking on his name. One of the Chris's played as both the Human Torch and as Captain America. What is his name? We have Chris. It is Chris, right? I'm blanking on his name completely. Whatever. Then we have anyone else? Has anyone else played in a superhero movie twice, effectively? That's the question I'm asking. Have they played as Batman here? I don't care which superhero movie. Any superhero movie. Who else has played as multiple superheroes? Here we have Sue Storm turning invisible. So this expansion really leaned into those hybrid plastics over here. The hybrid plastics we're seeing from Come On. We're seeing this as well right now from The Breach, from Ludus Magnus Studios. They're doing a similar thing with their newest Kickstarter as well. We have, Fantastic Form over here, stretching around. I wonder how many people have played as 2 characters, and it could be anything. It could even be a side character. I don't really care. I'm just curious who has played as 2 different characters in a superhero movie. Because I can only think of 2 at the moment. One of them, his name is Chris, and I, for the life of me, can't remember his actual name, like his full name, not his actual name. Oh, this goes that way. Nope, that goes that way. Okay, that's done. We got the Fantastic Four done, which means it's time to finally move on to the stretch goal box. This video's over an hour. That's insane. That's with me rushing through things. Rushing is a stretch, but like going through as much as I possibly can. Now, first of all, we do have all this other stuff over here. Let's take a look. This is the heavy stuff, okay? This is the heavy stuff because it involves all... Do I even want to go through this? I'm not going to go through this all. I'm going to save you time. These are the cardboard locations. They're basically heavy cardboard for all those thin little plastic pieces of whatever. These are going to be Storm and Old Man Logan. So we have two basic superheroes that we have for the game. I also don't have a playmat here because the playmat was shipped separately. And I was like, I'm not waiting for the playmat to do this unboxing. We have the plastic token pack. I'll go through that. We have the classic dashboard, villain dashboards. Okay, these are going to be the villain dashboards, all perked out in, you know, heavy cardboard, so you have a higher quality. I like those. Again, the biggest aspect is that they add to the weight significantly, and I really need to figure out how I'm storing everything because this is going to get a nightmare very quickly. Then we have the cardboard villain locations. I am really curious if they don't have like cardboard versions of like those other things. That would be so annoying because not because it's a big deal. It'd just be slightly irritating to have almost everything in deluxified heavy cardboard as opposed to the flimsy bendable stuff. And then to have like one or two things where you're like, oh yeah, you know that little dashboard there? That's just flimsy plastic, and it is what it is. Because why not make it cardboard at that point to complete the set? Whatever. There'll be a third Kickstarter at some point. I hope there isn't, by the way. I really hope there isn't, because I know myself. I will get it all. I should not get it all, but I will get... I think I'll get it all. I don't know. But again, everything has a breaking point. And the case with Marvel United is I'm not worried about the breaking point, because this is going to be something I play. This is going to be kept entirely different, entirely separate from the regular Marvel United, to preserve some degree or some pretension of, like, of actual accessibility. Here we have all the various token packs for the game. We have regular Marvel United. This is X-Men 2. What is this? Marvel United plastic tokens. This is just basic Marvel United. Do I have to mix these for both sets? I don't remember how this one works. This just says Marvel United. It doesn't say X-Men. So, but there are X-Men tokens here, I imagine. Yeah, there's definitely X-Men tokens here. Look at this. So, I'm not going to open all these packs. Let's open this pack and go ahead and go through this. We'll deal with the rest later. I have to figure out how to store all this stuff. But like here, we have this token over here. That's going to be a little plastic token. You can see the 3D-ness of it. We have those. These are replacing the Sentinels over here. They're nice. I like the tokens. I mean, the tokens are nice. They're a little lightweight, but that's what you expect from plastic. It's not like surprises there. We have the plan tokens. So I have to take a look at this and see whether they're... See, because they have... The way these are divided into like a million little bags. I mean, look at this. They have, like, look, they have the stars in both bags. So I don't know how these are organized or divided. Ultimately, I'm going to have to open this and just figure it all out. This is very weirdly divided. I don't know. I'm going to go through that later. But I do like the tokens. They're nice, they're colorful, they're pretty, they're nice, they're colorful, they're pretty. I can keep repeating myself if you want. Let's put this back over here. Let's deal with that later. And let's finally go through the last box, which is going to take a while because that box has a whole bunch of extra characters. And, of course, will be promptly dumped into, you know, all the other boxes anyways. So, this goes here, this goes here. We're good on that. We are almost done. Almost done. So, let's take a look at this stuff. What is Come coming out with next? That's the question. You see, I know Come coming out with, they are coming out with the Cyberpunk or whatever it is. What's the thing again? Cyberpunk 2077? They're coming out with that as a board game. Unless their plans changed, that should be their next campaign. Because they said on a live stream at one point that Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be their next campaign after... It's going to be their next campaign after the 50th campaign, which was Marvel Zombies. So I imagine that's coming soon. Although they're also running like a RPG campaign. I don't know if they're doing an association with someone else, but they seem to be doing that. Oh boy. Oh boy. Is this really just one box? Nope, not just one box. We have the cards, we have the tokens, we have the trays. Holy schmigaggies. Okay. I'm not going through the cards here. I'm going to just put the cards back in the box. And we have a broken insert. Look at that. Look at that. Completely broken under the weight of everything. I'd care, except A, I wouldn't care, and B, I'm not keeping the insert anyway. Like, I really, even if I was keeping the insert, I would not make a big deal. Like, these things, it's annoying. It's a very interesting conversation. It's one we've had before. It's the nature of, when you spend $600 on something, and again, I don't think this was $600, the whole, everything was $800. How much I spent on that one? Maybe it's $500, I don't remember exactly. But when you spend a lot of money on something, there's a reasonable expectation of, I don't want it broken, right? There is, and it's a very reasonable expectation. But also, the problem is you never know who on the other side of the fence is making money or barely making it work. And I'm always sympathetic to the fact that some people are not raking it in. Even companies like Come They might be making money, but do they have the margins to replace every single little thing? And do I care enough to make someone go through that? Whether it's environmental concerns, whether it's just general care. What in the world? Where's my... I got nervous for a second. I was like, do they? It's like my whole speech about having not worried about what's it called, about little issues with a thing here or there. That does not extend to a missing miniature. But I remember Command started doing this, which I appreciate when they do this. But they finally started doing this, where you can go ahead, you can take your character and you can slot her in over there, and now she fits in there, thus being able to not have a stupid box off to the side. We'll dump this in here, and then we'll do the same with this character. I got worried for a second. So we got tons of characters. I'm going to pick a few, and then I'll show you the whole tray. There's a whole lot of stretch goal characters here. A whole lot of stuff for your X-Men universe, in case you know these characters. I cared when it was the MCU. I cared when it was all that stuff because I knew all that. And I still want all of this, don't get me wrong. Old Man Logan fits nicely in there. We have this card pack. And then we have all of this over here. So let's pick and choose some characters. This guy's adorable. This one's just adorable. My kids are going to love this character. Look at that. Look at that character. Look at the little dragon. And he's from something or other. I know that because my wife knew who he was. And people knew who he was. I just don't know who he was. We have this over here. Look at that. Look at the back. Look at the backing there. I like this combination merge thing that's going on. I do. It's very enjoyable. And then we have, we have Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler was like screamed after the whole entire campaign. People wanted Nightcrawler the entire time. It was just, you know, Nightcrawler. Just the entire campaign. The Command does this every single campaign. They always have their whole aspect of chasing down certain things. I don't know what the heck's going on with this. I can't take this seriously. I mean, again, this goes back to Porky Pig, or whatever his name is, Peter Porker, whatever the name is. I can't take him seriously. I don't have the affinity or the knowledge from the comics. We have female Gambit shooting cards, basically. Look at that card situation again. Or knives or something. It's not female Gambit. We have this over here. This is some more Deadpool stuff. It's adorable. Look at that. I assume it's more Deadpool. It's probably not Deadpool. Just given my knowledge and luck, it's going to be something else entirely, isn't it? Is that Bob? I don't know. It feels like Deadpool. We're going to stick with the Deadpool assumption, and people can correct me if I'm wrong. Then we got this giant thing over here, which looks very adorable. Abominable Snowman. That's his name over there. It's not his name, obviously. His name is whatever his name is. But Abominable Snowman. And then we'll show you the rest of the tray, because we got 2 more trays to go through. So, just going slowly through the tray in case you want to see all that. And you can pause at any given point to find all the things. This is off to the side. Tray number 2. There's 2 more trays to go through? Yeah, 2 more trays. Alright, tray number 2 is over here. And this one is, let's go through it all. Let's see what we want to look at. We have a whole bunch of anti-heroes. We have Groot. We have Groot as an anti-hero. Over here. Here's Groot. Okay. Let's see if we can focus. There we go. There's Groot as an... I'm curious why they'd make Groot an anti-hero. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, why isn't he just purely a hero? And yes, I know it's not Groot. I'm being obnoxious again. I don't know why it's funny to me. It is funny to me. You know those signs? Have you ever seen those memes where like shows a picture of like a Gandalf and it's like, use the Force, Harry, and that's like the quotes from, I don't know, who's another old guy, Dumbledore. Like, use the Force, Harry, and it's like a picture of Gandalf, a quote from Dumbledore, and a reference to Star Wars. I love it when things do that. I find that very amusing when you kind of bait... I don't know why. I don't know why. It's really just mean when you think about it. When you think about it, you're finding something that people are passionate about, you're finding something people care about, and then you're making fun of the fact that they care about and are passionate about that thing. Which feels like I'm a bad person now. Feels like I'm a bad person now. Because that'd be like somebody making fun of board games to me, like being like, oh, it's another Monopoly, which people do all the time to me, so I guess it's all fair then. Anyways, what do we have? What do we have here that I care about? This one's cool. I like the way she's dancing on her flames, okay? This is a very cool sculpt. Look at that sculpt. She's like dancing in the air. You can see like directly through. You can see my finger there. She's floating on her flames there, which is very nice. Anything else I want to focus on here before we go through the whole tray? I like whatever's going on with this character. This character looks like he fits in like with Wakanda or something like that. Looks like some sort of creation from Wakanda. Although, again, probably not, because Wakanda is more Marvel. This is more X-Men. Shared universe, not shared everything. Let's go ahead and show you all these characters. Okay. So, tray number 2. Tray number 2. Just going slowly through it. Pause away as you want, because now it's going back on top of there. And we have the last tray full of all the villains. So, first of all, this one is amazing. I'm sorry, this is just amazing. We have Phoenix over here as a pure villain. I think it's Phoenix. I might be wrong. This is not me baiting anyone. I think this is Phoenix. So, that's going to be her over there. Look at that, just the degree of fire. I'm just going by recollection. I mean, she clearly looks like she could be a Jean Grey style character, and she's large enough. And then we have so many things. This one's adorable. This basically looks like it could fit straight into a Zombicide Invader, by the way. This could straight up be Zombicide Invader with that tail, the shape. It looks like an abomination. A little too chibi-ish, but past that it would fit in just fine. We have so many things here. We got Samurai. Oh, my son's gonna love this because he loves anything Japan, China, samurai, ninjas, all those things. My son absolutely adores. He'll love that a lot. So that'd be great. And then what else do we have? We have what looks like to be more Wanda. Might be more Wanda. We have the Toad, which is, you know, Toad. We have another Zombicide character. Another Zombicide Invader abomination over here. At this point, I wish I had Zombicide Invader next to me so I could pull one up and be like, oh, that's another Zombicide Invader, and actually be from Zombicide Invader, but I don't, so we're not going to. Zombicide Invader is leaving my collection. I'll have a video, by the way. I'll have a video going up soon. We have Blob. Oh, let's look at this one. I like the mini here. I like the flames. I like the flames a lot in general. But I'll have a video going up on my channel soon. Probably within the next 2 weeks. I don't know exactly when. But it's basically a very large giveaway. It's a very large giveaway of a whole bunch of games that I'm getting rid of. Because that's the nature of a giveaway. But I do my games leaving the collection videos every single month. That's what I do. And this is a extra one on top of that. This month I'm going to have games leaving my collection. But then on top of that, I will also have, I think, am I doing this right? Or is this supposed to go, I think I'm doing this right, but it's not. Am I doing it right? I think this is the correct way. Let's see. We got that over there, that over there. That can go on top of there, which could go on top of here, but I don't think it does. I think it... Does it go like this? No, it doesn't. I'm doing it right the first time. Okay. I think I am. But this person is not fitting in the way I would want him to. There we go. I just have to turn him a bit. Okay. So, we are finally done. I'll have a large giveaway on my channel in a week and a half. Giving away some expensive games. There are some expensive games that I like, a whole bunch of things. I'm not going to heavily go into each one of what's there, but I will say Zombicide Invader is in that video. It's just games that I have to get rid of because I like other games more, and I want to keep other games more, even though I like those other games. But because of it, I wanted to make it a bigger video, and this might happen more. It might have to happen more, because I can't keep everything. I can't keep everything, and I keep getting into new stuff, and I keep finding games I love. And so it means the standard for what I the standard for what I am willing to hold on to keeps getting higher. Games like Zombicide Invader that I've wanted to love as much as I possibly could, but ultimately Black Plague keeps winning. At a certain point, stop trying. I have plenty of games. I have Marvel Zombies coming. I don't need to try for those things. And that's going to be true with anything from Euros to family games to kids games to party games to Ameritrash to Area Control. At a certain point, stop trying so hard. That's the point. And I have the luxury, I'm in the beneficial position of being able to go through all these games, and again, I did this before Contra Creation 2, it did get worse doing Contra Creation, that's not a question, but I have to make choices, and to a certain extent, part of that's going to result in some giveaways. I don't know if I'll always do giveaways. It's very tricky. The balance of giveaways is that I'm giving away probably several $1,000s worth of games in that video. I'd have to add it all up. For sure 1,000. I mean, Zombicide Invader alone is going to be a few $100s. Then there's that, and that. For sure over 1,000. I'm giving away somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000. I think leaning close to $2,000 worth of games. And the weird balance there is, I could sell them. I mean, we just talked about this earlier in the video, the whole thrifty and hold their value and all those things. Why am I not selling them? The answer is twofold. One is that, as much as I do pay for things and they hold their value, I also do get things for free. It's not the craziest thing to give things away. Giving it away for free or not, though, I could sell it, so why wouldn't I? And it's case by case. More often than not, I do sell things. Most things that go into my games leaving the collection videos, they do get sold, they do get traded, they are specifically not given away. To Patreon I give away occasionally, but not to everyone. But occasionally I'm going to start doing more of these giveaways. Now I will be tying them to Patreon as well. If you are a Patreon member or anything like that, then you will be able to have extra votes, so to speak, extra ballots in the giveaway. And that's just a balance of, as much as I am giving them away, if it makes sense to push people to be active Patreon members at the same time. If you're giving away several $1,000s worth of stuff, hopefully there's a return on the other end at the same time. But again, the other part of it is just, I do get things for free, and it's nice to occasionally give things away at the same time. It's a balance. Everything's a balance. It's always messy in life. But that's it. This is your incredibly long, hour-plus long unboxing of all of the Marvel United stuff. I hope to be diving into some of this stuff as soon as possible. Don't expect a review anytime soon, because it's one of those things. I already reviewed Marvel United. Marvel United X-Men doesn't necessarily change that significantly. It's basically the same situation, the same game. At some point in the future, maybe I'll do a full comprehensive review, but honestly, I haven't gone through all the stuff from Marvel United yet either. So what am I going to do? Review each expansion one at a time? I mean, Tom Vasselknight, he did that for Marvel United. He did like a whole week dedicated to Marvel United, which is good for him. But I don't have the bandwidth for that. So we'll see. I'll get to them eventually, one at a time. For me, I'm happy to own these. I'm happy to have my kids play with them. I'm happy to play with specific games with my children, and or whoever. I'll play this with anyone. And that's basically it. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from Board Game Co. And as always, I hope you have a good one.